Welcome back to Motolap. I'm Tom, and today we are diving deep into one of the most important topics for new riders. Something that can literally make the difference between a safe ride and a dangerous one. So if you are a beginner motorcyclist riding in traffic, this video is especially for you because we are going to break down the top 8 beginner motorcycle mistakes in traffic in detail, real-world style, with examples, explanations, and riding psychology. So make sure you stay with me till the end because every single point builds on the last one and will help you become a smarter, smoother, and safer rider on busy roads. Now let's get started with mistake number 1. Poor lane positioning. This is where most beginners go wrong because they either hug the curb too much, ride too close to the center line, or sit directly in a car's blind spot without even realizing it. And what happens is that when you stay too far left or too far right in your lane, you reduce your visibility, limit your escape routes, and make yourself harder to see for cars, buses, and trucks, especially in heavy traffic where drivers are constantly changing lanes, braking suddenly, and making unpredictable moves. So the correct way is to ride in the dominant track position of your lane, where your motorcycle is most visible in mirrors and where you have the best line of sight ahead, which means not sitting directly behind a car, not riding too close to the shoulder, and always maintaining a buffer zone around you, because space is your biggest safety tool on a motorcycle. And many beginners fail to understand that positioning is not just about staying in your lane, but about actively choosing the safest part of that lane based on traffic flow, road conditions, and surrounding vehicles. Now moving on to mistake number 2, target fixation. This is one of the most dangerous beginner mistakes, and it happens when a rider stares too long at an obstacle, like a pothole, a car, a pedestrian, or even another motorcycle. And instead of looking where they want to go, they end up steering directly toward what they are afraid of, which is a natural but dangerous reaction, especially in traffic where there are distractions everywhere, honking horns, flashing indicators, buses cutting in, auto rickshaws weaving through lanes, and cars suddenly braking in front of you. And if you lock your eyes on any of these things, your brain subconsciously guides your hands toward it. So the correct technique is to always look where you want the bike to go. Scan far ahead, keep your head moving, check mirrors frequently, and trust your peripheral vision to handle close obstacles, because great riders don't stare, they scan, they plan, and they ride with awareness instead of fear. Now let's talk about mistake number 3, riding too fast for traffic conditions. Many beginners think that being confident means being fast, but in real traffic, speed is not your friend unless you have space, visibility, and control. And new riders often ride at a speed that feels comfortable on an open road, but becomes dangerous in city traffic, where vehicles stop suddenly, pedestrians cross randomly, and smaller vehicles like scooters and bicycles can appear out of nowhere. And when you ride too fast, your reaction time shrinks, your braking distance increases, and your chances of making a safe correction drop dramatically, which is why smart beginners adjust their speed based on traffic density, road surface, weather conditions, and their own skill level, always remembering that arriving safely is far more important than arriving quickly. Now coming to mistake number 4, poor use of brakes. This is a huge issue for beginners because many of them either overuse the rear brake, underuse the front brake, or panic brake when something unexpected happens. And what they don't realize is that around 70 to 80% of your stopping power comes from the front brake, not the rear. So when they slam only the rear brake, the bike doesn't stop efficiently, or worse, the rear wheel locks up and skids, causing loss of control, especially on slippery or dusty roads, while others grab the front brake too hard and risk flipping or losing traction. So the correct approach is smooth. Progressive braking using both brakes together, applying the front brake gradually while lightly supporting with the rear, and practicing emergency braking in a safe environment so that in real traffic you don't freeze or panic. Now let's move to mistake number 5, not checking mirrors and blind spots. This is something even experienced riders sometimes get lazy about. But for beginners, it can be deadly because traffic is constantly changing behind and beside you. And if you don't regularly check your mirrors and turn your head to look over your shoulder before changing lanes, you might merge directly into a car, bus, or another bike, especially in crowded cities where vehicles don't always follow lane discipline. And many beginners assume that if they turn on their indicator, cars will automatically slow down or let them in, which is a dangerous assumption. So the right habit is to signal first. Check mirrors. Check blind spots. Then move smoothly, never assuming that others see you or will make space for you. Now we come to mistake number 6, riding in a car's blind spot for too long. This ties closely to lane positioning and mirror use because many beginners ride alongside cars without realizing that they are sitting in a zone where the driver cannot see them in side mirrors, especially next to large SUVs, buses, or trucks. And if that vehicle suddenly changes lanes, the rider has no time to react, which is why you should either stay slightly ahead of or slightly behind other vehicles rather than riding exactly parallel to them. And if you must pass, do it decisively and safely instead of lingering beside them. Now let's discuss mistake number 7, lack of defensive riding mindset. This is more mental than technical, but it is one of the most important skills for any motorcyclist because beginners often ride assuming that others will follow rules, use indicators properly, and respect their space. But in real traffic, many drivers are distracted, aggressive, or simply unaware of motorcycles. So a defensive rider always expects the unexpected, assumes that a car might suddenly brake, a pedestrian might jump out, or a vehicle might change lanes without warning. And instead of reacting emotionally or aggressively, they stay calm, create space, and plan their moves in advance, which drastically reduces the chances of accidents. And finally, we reach mistake number 8, overconfidence too early. This is where many beginners get into trouble after a few weeks or months of riding, because once they feel comfortable on their bike, they start taking unnecessary risks like weaving through traffic too fast, riding too close to vehicles, cornering aggressively, or ignoring basic safety habits like proper gear and lane discipline. And what they forget is that confidence should grow gradually with skill, experience, and continuous learning, not turn into recklessness. So the best approach is to always treat traffic with respect. Keep improving your skills, practice regularly, and never stop learning even after years of riding. Because motorcycling is not just about controlling a machine, it's about understanding road dynamics, human behavior, and your own limits. And that brings us to the end of this deep breakdown of the top 8 beginner motorcycle mistakes in traffic. And if you are a new rider watching this, remember that making mistakes is part of learning. But being aware of them in advance can help you avoid many dangerous situations. So ride smart, ride safe, and always keep your focus sharp. Thank you for watching Motolap. This is Tom signing off, and I'll see you in the next ride.